On today's episode, Tales from the Grapevine, we're going to do a couple things. So, one was Beauty and the Beast, and then also New Year's Eve, how New Year's Eve the ball drop started in New York City. To keep going with that theme, I don't know why my dog keeps crying. Kind of weird. Um, but I have her beside me today. Her name's Ivy. I just hear her whining a little bit. Ivy, look! Who's that? Hello? Ivy, look! Look! Oh, she might be focused on the TV. I don't know. It's kind of funny, but don't know why she's whining. To be honest, anyways, she's okay though. Like she whines a lot, so I'm not surprised by her whining. It doesn't truthfully affect me. So let's get started starting with New Year's Eve and how things progressed and how it became so popular. So New Year's Eve, has anyone been to the ball drop with experiences? I hear it is almost like you gotta sit there for 12 hours if you want to be at the front of the line or at the front of the stage. She left me. So sad. Or like people wear Depends because there's no bathrooms, and then if you go to the bathroom you lose your spot. I've heard that as well. So I'm just curious if like you've been there and you've experienced it. I know someone who they went one time but they just ended up pushing their way to the very front kind of thing. Anyways, let's get right into some of these ball fun facts. So the ball is a geodesic sphere 12 feet in diameter and weighs 11,875 pounds. So probably not even a bodybuilder could lift that, or multiple bodybuilders can. The ball is covered with a total of 2,688 crystal triangles that vary in size and range in the length of from 4 3/4 inches to 5 3/4 inches per side. Um, and the ball is illuminated by 32,256 LEDs. Each LED module contains 48 LEDs, 12 red, 12 blue, 12 green, and 12 white, for a total of 8,064 of each color. So the history of the New Year's Eve ball is revelers began celebrating New Year's Eve in Times Square as early as 1904, but it was in 1907 that the New Year's Eve ball made its maiden descent from the flagpole atop one Times Square. 7 versions of the ball has been designed to signal the new year. The first New Year's Eve ball, made of iron and wood and adorned with 125-watt light bulbs, was 5 feet in diameter and weighed 700 pounds. As part of the 1907 to 1908 festivities, waiters in the fabled lobster palaces and other deluxe eateries in hotels surrounding Times Square were supplied with battery-powered top hats emblazoned with the number 1908 fashioned into tiny light bulbs. At the stroke of midnight, they all flipped their lids, and the year on their foreheads lit up in conjunction with the numbers 1908 on the parapet of the Times Tower, lighting up to signal the arrival of the new year. The ball has been lowered every single year since 1907, with the exceptions of 1942 and 1943, when the ceremony was suspended due to the wartime dying-out of lights in New York City. Nevertheless, the crowd still gathered in Times Square in those years and greeted the new year with a minute of silence, followed by the ringing of chimes from sound trucks parked at the base of the tower, a harkening back-to-back the earlier celebrations at Trinity Church, where crowds would gather, ring out the old and ring in the new. In 1920, a 400-pound ball made entirely of wrought iron replaced the original. In 1955, the iron ball was replaced with an aluminum ball weighing a mere 150 pounds. For Times Square's 2000 the Millennium celebration at Crossroads of the world, the New Year's Eve ball was completely redesigned. The crystal ball combined the latest in lighting technology with most traditional of materials, reminding us of our past as we gazed into the future and the beginning of a new millennium. So this aluminum ball remained unchanged until the 1980s, when red light bulbs and the addition of a green stem converted the ball into an apple for I Love New York marketing campaign from 1981 until 1988. After 7 years, the traditional glowing white ball with the white light bulbs without the green stem returned the bright light the sky above Times Square. And in 1995, the ball was upgraded with aluminum skin rhinestone strobes and computer controls, but the aluminum ball was lowered for the last time in 1998. And then in 2007, the 100th anniversary of the Times Square ball drop tradition, a spectacular new LED crystal ball was created. The incandescent and halogen bulbs of the past century were replaced. That's so cool. Um, it would be so cool. 1 second, Ivy. She's whining at me to go to the back lane. She can wait a minute. She does this all the time to me. As you can hear her whining, she doesn't need to go to the back lane. Anyways, come here, Ivy. That's okay. I'll put her out in a moment. So, with that being said, you know, um, with the ball dropped and everything, would you guys go just for the experience, or do you think it would be too crowded? My thought would be, if there was a hotel with a window at Times Square or a balcony, I would go and live at that hotel for one night just to see the ball drop, so I wouldn't have to be in that crowd, and I had access to a washroom and a bed just to be comfortable, uh, and stuff like that. So yes, it would be cool to experience it, but I would not want to go sit in that crowd. Never in a million years would I want to go sit in that crowd for hours and hours when there's people that are taller than you that are in front of you as well. As cool as it would be, it's not as cool as being right up close and center kind of thing. So I would much rather watch it through the screen or in a hotel room right above. That would be like probably the ideal for me. Um, I would love to hear your guys' take in the comments below, but let's get into some Beauty and the Beast facts. I am for next episode, I think, because this took a little longer, and I'm happy it took a little longer, actually. Like, what is your opinion on New Year's Eve? Because, or I guess we could, yeah. Sorry, let's do it. Let's do two in one, and then that's our transition from Christmas and New Year's to Disney. Disney stories and the real stories behind them. So Beauty and the Beast, I find, is the closest to Valentine's Day, which is the next holiday to celebrate. Not really a holiday, but a day to celebrate with your spouse. And not every spouse celebrates that, and that's totally okay. But this is something that I would love, that I admired of Beauty and the Beast, is the storyline. It was sweet. The Beast turned out to be good in the end, and I love that. For you guys who don't know Beauty and the Beast, I think the father gets taken away to the Beast castle. I can't remember how that happened. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. So Belle has to go and find and save her dad. And then she's welcomed into the mansion through like the teacups, the candle, the closet. And she was ordered to stay there so her dad can go and be free. And then she ends up falling in love with the Beast. So the real story behind that is something that I'm going to share with you. By the way, if you want to go check out the New Year's Eve history, I got it from timesquarenyc.org. And so behind the scenes of Beauty and the Beast. So the real story is the original and the Disney remake are pretty similar. Girl meets Beast, Beast steals girl, girl falls in love with Beast in spite of the kidnapping. The largest difference is Belle is actually granted a furlough from captivity in order to visit her family. In the original tale, her sisters are jealous of her new luxe life with old Beastie, as most sisters are when they learn one of their own has been kidnapped and try to plot a sabotage. In short, it's to keep Belle from going back to the palace in hopes that she'll get in major trouble with the Beast. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. We're ranking this as 2 out of 5 on the scary scale since it's actually pretty tame. Yeah, it is a pretty tame, I would say, too. There's always, of course, the jealous sisters, right? Like Cinderella, the jealous stepsisters. That's why they're so petty, I believe, is they're jealous of her. The truth about the Beauty and the Beast, or the chip. So there was apparently a meaning behind the teapot or the teacup, I believe. But I wanted to read this. Just I'm reading these blindly, so I don't know what I'm even reading, by the way, like, because I'm not even 100% sure. But this is something I think totally different from the teacup. But the truth about Chip from Beauty and the Beast. First, and this is found on Reddit. First time posting, I was urged by my boyfriend after I sent him a text with a random musings about Chip from Beauty and the Beast to post this on Reddit, and well, here I am. So I just realized something about Chip from Beauty and the Beast. I always wondered why he was the special cup out of, oh yeah, the Chip, I guess, from the teacup. So he was the cup of all the other cups in the set, especially because he has an imperfection, a chip. It got me thinking about how Chip might have gotten his chip, and I realized that he's been living as a teacup in a castle with a beast. The beast showed us that he has a horrible rage and breaks things. Perhaps at one point the beast flipped out while he was drinking from Chip, his ed from Chip and chipped his edge. Mrs. Potts then becomes protective of him and allows him to go along with her during her duties. Now, what about the other cups in the tea set? Chip's brothers and sisters, well, maybe Mrs. Potts becomes protective of Chip because he is the last remaining teacup of hers. He's the only one left that hasn't been smashed, and she feels the need to keep him close. Then I remembered as she mentioned that Chip needs to take a bath like his brothers and sisters, perhaps while the beast did smash all the other teacups. Magic brought them back together, and not wholly, like some pieces were mixed up and went to the wrong cups, so while they were functioning, or while they were functioning teacups, they're not to be transformed into human like Chip was at the end of the movie. I guess essentially the beast lived up to his name as being a beast and killed the rest of the tea set. Chip's brothers and sisters, Mrs. Potts' kids, and that's why Chip is special. Okay. Someone said, and maybe overthinking this, it might have something to do with his chipped tooth as a human. That could be possible too. Yeah, it was really because he had a chipped tooth. Sorry, OP. Also, not a very piece of furniture or flatware in the castle was once a human. I love when people take like little things from movies and kind of turn it dark. I don't love it. Like I find it fascinating of maybe this could be it or conspiracy, right? Um, so here are some best case scenarios of Chip. So best case scenario, Chip was conceived, carried to term, and birthed, and this was from tancast.com, and birthed after the curse was placed on the castle, so Mrs. Potts somehow found a way to get her freak on while in the teapot form, and somehow that unholy union made a child. Who would the father be? One of the beer stains? Who do you cross with the teapot to make a teacup? I really don't want to think about the scenario too long. Slightly worst case scenario, Mrs. Potts was pregnant at the time of the curse. Not only does the scenario have the twisted element of the enchantress putting a spell on a pregnant lady, it still has the elements of Mrs. Potts giving birth as a teapot. The mind boggles. How would it? Where would it? But as Jesus mentioned, Chip is not the only child / cup in the movie, so it's not likely either of these scenarios is right, which only leaves worst case scenario. Let's say Chip is around 11 years old, so he was born before the curse, which means enchantress cursed a baby to a possible lifetime as a drinkware. I thought it was bad to put a curse on an 11-year-old boy, but what kind of heartless magical skank puts a curse on a baby? Maybe you could argue that somehow all the adult servants should have made the princess less selfish, but what was the baby supposed to do? And the other cups were probably a little older than Chip, but not only by a lot, which means they must have been very young children when the curse hit. I am an almost 2-year-old. I don't have the first idea how I would explain this to him if his mother, and I all got changed into flatware tomorrow. True. I totally agree with you there. But what was Chip to you? What do you guys think? Do you guys think he was, what scenario do you think makes most sense? Or do you say it was just because of the curse throughout the whole movie? I gotta go watch the movie again. Anyways, let me know in the comments below if you think it was worth it to go visit NYC, what you think of Beauty and the Beast in the original tale, and the Chip meaning, or the meaning behind the chip on the teacup. But that is it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll chat soon. Bye now.